Greetings, everyone! I am back with a summary of the previous two predictions that I made for the MLB playoffs, and both of them were correct, no surprise. And this will just summarize it and also will show you the importance of the odds movement and the correlation between the chart code and the odds movement, right? That's all you need to know to be 100%. So the first game was the Blue Jays. This was game one of the ALCS. The Blue Jays were favored. Remember, here was a chart. Um, so the Blue Jays were favored, and the prediction was that if these odds down here moved up, then the Blue Jays will not win in regulation, and that's exactly what happened. So here was that prediction. If the money line closes above minus 130, then the favorite will not win in regulation. Same with the spread, okay? And here's the movement again, and I will show you the proof of this movement on Odds Portal. Here it is. This was the final closing. This was the money line, okay? And right there, Cloud Bet. Or you can check this for yourselves on oddsportal.com. But remember, you have to have a VPN, okay? Because here's another secret. The odds are different on different VPNs. This is how the bookmakers hide the true closings, all right? So, for example, if you're in USA, these numbers will be different, okay? Or at least the timestamps. But if you're in like United Kingdom or maybe Mexico, the timestamps will be different, all right? So that's a huge technique that the bookmakers use to hide the final closings. So you have to have at least like 3 VPNs open and checking the odds constantly. That's what I am doing, and that's what I did. This was the final closing, 802. All right, this is the money line. Remember, it opened at minus 130, closed at minus 154. Okay, same thing with the spread. Opened at plus 1.5, closed at minus 1. Right there, so Toronto was heavily favored. Here's the spread. Okay. And therefore, Seattle covered the plus 1. And what happened is that they actually just won outright. All right, so that was, and yes, I did bet on it. I did not bet big because it was, actually, because it didn't start on time. It actually started at 8:05. So I just I did a small bet, but I won, of course. I, just gambled on it. And the next prediction was the NLCS game 3, I believe. Dodgers were at home, favored, and against the Brewers. And this was a chart. Remember, the Dodgers opened at minus 175, plus 1.5. And the prediction was if the money line closes in favor of the Dodgers, and Milwaukee will win. All right, so the same thing as the previous chart, right? So I expected these odds to move up, all right, but they didn't. And that's the reason the Dodgers won. All right, so if I was expecting this to close at 200 or and minus 1, and then if that would have happened, then the underdog Milwaukee would have won. All right, but instead it moved the opposite way, all right, which was the only way the Dodgers would win according to the code. All right, and just prove it here. So where's the closing? Right here, minus 172. Okay, odds portal.com. and the game started at 6:08 or local. Okay, and so this was the final closing, 6:07, and as you can see, it closed below what it opened, which was minus 175. All right, so that was actually a surprise, and I also bet on this game right after Dodgers went up 1-0. And it was a small win as well. And here's a spread. Okay, so check this out. It closed right here. This was the final closing. Okay, and so it did not move up, and that's why the Dodgers won. Usually, when it opens at 1.5, it closes above 1 point plus 1.5, but this didn't. It's very surprising. But anyway, that's why the Dodgers won. And yep, you just have to keep track of odds, and you have to know the code, the record of the code. All right, if you have a database of the code, you can be 100% like I am on Sundays. Anyway, well, hey, let me show you one more thing about the odds. So check this out. So this Dodgers game, you see, I'm on that VPN and it's a little slower. I think I'm on Mexico VPN. But anyway, look at the odds here. So look, the odds actually went up to -1, um, like a few days before it started. But look at the closing. It closed at 6:06 at -1. All right. The timestamp is at 6:06 for -1, and for +1 it's 5:59 and 6. But the latest closing was at plus 1.5607. You see that? That's why. And that's why the Dodgers won. Right? So a lot of people, I mean, even if you bet this, you would have won this as well. But anyway, this is how the bookmakers kind of deceive the users. They kind of, ramp this up, but then they close. The final closing will be on the lower handicap. It's kind of difficult to explain, and it's kind of confusing as well. Well, that's why a lot of people lose. But anyway, I have a prediction for Sunday's NLCS game 6, I believe. It's also showing unique. I'll try to post it if I have time. Anyway, thank you and good luck.